morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jenna Bosonko, and it's good to be back. I know it's a public holiday today, and all of you are at home relaxing, and we are happy that we are able to be here to accompany you during this morning to talk about different issues happening in the Gambia and beyond, and to also take this opportunity to wish all Gambians at home and abroad a happy Mayday, Labor Day. We see the amazing work that individuals are doing, especially individuals in the diaspora. The remittances contribute a huge chunk of our GDP, and we appreciate the work that individuals who are in the diaspora are doing to ensure that we live a good life back home. Ibrahim, good morning, and wishing you a happy Labor Day.
Thank you, Jenna. I mean, it's good to be back here on this platform again. And I wish you the same.
Yeah, Ibrahim, this takes me. When did you start working?
2008.
You started working in 2008?
Yes, I started with Unique FM radio.
Unique FM?
Since 2008.
Okay.
So, you know, it's been a long time.
So from Unique FM, QCell Marketing? From
Unique FM to QCell Marketing, Before QCell Marketing, I went to different institutions.
Really?
I was even with Comfort Quality Services.
Okay.
And, from there, you know, back to Unique FM again.
Yeah.
From there, you know, Al-Falah, you know, the Islamic Council.
Al-Falah Radio,
I was there. I was running Al-Falah.
No.
From Al-Falah to QCell.
Okay.
QCell to QTV.
Yeah.
You understand?
Wow.
So I think this is going to be the last stop.
This is the last stop?
Yeah.
This
is going to be the last stop.
Hana, because tanga fok ne chairman mo ngi setan mo ta ngay wax yu reey ni man de duma ko fi wax man de mom duma ko fi wax man parce que how much my faith I have to be honest.
No, when I say the last stop for me, it can mean a lot of things. I mean,
last stop moy fi moy mujenteli liggéey kay.
Probably suma fi joge I'm going to pursue my own thing. I mean, probably can hamut. So
okay. Hanga tay public holiday la te xam nga ne borom place yaa ngi toog di seetaan mu fee wax yu rëy man de du ma ko fi waxee man su ko defee ëllëg si biir ñu ñoo di la ne la yaa ko fi waxoon.
Fii mooy suma last stop nag.
Okay, that's good. That's
so
good.
It's good to be back here on this platform. I mean, to share it with you.
Yeah.
You know, people find it very interesting when This Morning is on.
Yeah.
And sometimes, they find it very interesting.
Kan man.
Wow.
Yi ma si dee bëgg a duga. Waaw mooy xorom programme bi. Xam nga xorom dafa am cin bu amee. Nga sotti si cin bu nekk rek foog nga sàppali si xorom. So lii xorom si lii la.
Waaw baax na tak. Yeah, so
wax ko gaay.
What we'll be doing today, I mean, will be it's going to be the normal morning show.
Sure.
And Amadou Oba and I mean, we'll be engaging Amadou on the
UTG Gala dinner. Yeah.
And of course, Dr. Chernobari
will be on the show as well.
And we'll talk about his book.
So exactly.
Yeah. So Amadou, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Balde. And
you're home. Welcome home.
Back again. I am back home, and it's a pleasure to be here. Interestingly, 2008. Wow, you've been.
Lolo dafa yaga de.
Dafa yaga kay. I remember
2008. Lolo mung ma feka primary school fana.
Primary school.
Nda?
Oh, I graduated in 2008.
Man 2008 primary school la ma feka.
Okay.
Wax dëggu yàlla moom.
ñun fekk ñu ngi lekk salary.
fekk yéen a ngi lekk salary. fekk Newtown school. maa ngi struggle Newtown school. loolu Newtown school la ma fekk. Primary.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that shows how you know life is and different.
lekk na maalo yu bari daal.
kii dafa yaaga
sax. saako yu bari la daal.
saako yu bari. So Amadou, tell us, it's Labor Day, you know, today. What are you reflecting on, you know, starting work, your door work, what are the places that you've passed through? What has that taught you?
Yeah, so when he was going through his journey again, I was smiling because it's similar to what I've gone through. I graduated in 2008. I went straight to work at one of the internet cafes. Then there was so much social media.
Wow. For now,
internet
Facebook
cafe, Facebook, Yahoo. Correct. In fact, you don't use.
Yeah.
There was not even Gmail. It was Yahoo.com.
Okay.
I used. Wow.
Mozilla,
exactly.
Wow.
So I served. You know, as an operator for about a year. By end of 2009, I went to the Westfield Secretariat then, the Catholic Mission, to, of course, take my letter, an admission letter to serve as an unqualified teacher in 2009 at Combo St. Patrick's Lower Basic School, where Combo Daslame, teaching for just for 1 academic year. Wow. My salary was $904. And from there, I went straight to, work for Buyam Community Radio as a volunteer for 3 years. I remember receiving $400 and $500 in between for 4 good years.
Wow.
And then before eventually being staffed, I continued delegate as senior presenter. That was when I met Balde Banda, by the way. Then he was with QCell Marketing. At the time. Some of these community initiative programs in there and all that. Yeah, from Buyam, I think I served Buyam for almost 12 years. And I went through the ranks from a volunteer to a presenter, senior presenter, program manager, and eventually radio manager for 5 years. I left Buyam in 2019. Then Manu Fini at the Gambia Football Federation, where I still am. But while I was doing that, I also had my own social works, like he was saying.
Yeah.
Borom Mechela. I remember that we don't bab a police officer in phone, then don't muna rang,
Guy babs and bopay.
Guy
am halis through that.
Yeah, defna lulu, defna tamit aji mango, aji sorans. If you are someone who was frequent using Kamfenda Highway, you know for don't tahu. She on the checkpoint.
Oh wow, I love that.
Because man, suma dad more by to take responsibility of my own school fees in 2006. Since my grade 11, I don't file my bobo school fees, I don't, general my own year and everything. So they must take up responsibility at an early age, So to reflect on, coming to this day today, for a mountain, alhamdulillah, you're able to take care of yourself, take care of 2 families, and you spoke about remittances, of course. Every month you have to think of how do you exchange from Dallas rate to safer rate, just to ensure that your father and mother are able to get something. So it's kind of bittersweet moment.
It's bittersweet
only, yeah. We reflect so much on that. But alhamdulillah, mashallah, here we are.
I think for me too, man mom, I can't say much. I'm not okay, in a way, because QTV is my only job being a hamantene I'm now throughout my life, because man immediately after high school I enrolled at the university. The while man get them to university after high school immediately, that's when I started this job at QTV. So it's the only job that I've known. It's the only single experience that I know, but that does not stop me, like you said, dang bab. Man, I do tons of things outside. PA systems ako sohla ma rent lako. Lo buga maronal lako fi ci biir dëkk bi bañu ma dara. So it's a matter of understanding that you need multiple income streams to be able to live a good life. That is the situation that we find ourselves in.
I was a DJ before.
You see, ku soxla PA system dal na jaar ci man ma reglal ko sunum gëna gaaw.
Jaar aduna bi legi dafa change so much. Legi population bi gën na bari. Nit ñi seen nit si ak wan si gën na bari. So lolu mo dey prompt nit ñi to do a lot of things. You understand? I believe come side hustle and side struggles, they keep things going. It's very significant, but very inspiring. I mean, experiences here, so that is what it is.
Yeah, but also on Labor Day, we have to understand that it is beyond reflecting on your job experience. It's about demanding what is right for you as a worker, demanding the right wages and salaries, demanding the right environment to work in, sexual harassment, bullying in workplaces, which is happening every single time.
Exploitation.
So it's exploitation of workers. So on this day, it's beyond gathering, having fun, play football, def talk of war. It's a matter of us as well sitting down and reflecting that I'm right. We have right as workers to have the right environments that we are in. Oftentimes we will see workers protesting. At be digante last year this year gis nañ nit ñi di protest either low wages exploitation. Sometimes nga dem ci internet bi nga dégg ne there's a foreigner that has employed somebody and the person is harming them. So it's a chance for us to think about it, strategize. I am happy that the ILO representative for the West African region based in Senegal visited Gambia about a month ago, and then I'm happy that they're trying to revive their activeness and presence in the region, just so that they work on these things.
Last time I was talking to Francis, we were in the office, and we wanted to call the Labor Department.
Yes.
I mean, to invite them at least on this platform. I mean, for us to go through their mandate. But I mean, it was very difficult to know which setup or which entity is responsible, you know, for those things. I mean, it's sad. And a day like today, like you said, we need to sit and reflect. But okay, fine. There are previous Maydays. I mean, what have we achieved since we gathered? What have we done? What have we penned down?
Yeah.
I mean, to make sure, okay, this thing we've achieved it. You understand? It's not just a matter of coming together today and talk about it, put it on social media and on television without even reflecting of the agreements that we made last year. So how far have we gone? It would have been very important to ask these people.
Yeah, and also we have to take workers' unions seriously. In Gambia, it's very hard to have workers' unions. You know why? Because when you have workers' unions in organizations, ñëpp duñ ci dé déggu. Déggunes bi fokk mu am ko rocceeku. Because of the dogo syndrome that we have in the around fu nekk la. In all sectors la am in the country. And lolu fokk ñu jaar ñu sétat ko because workers' unions in other countries are very strong.
Absolutely. Dego is very important, and in most cases, especially in Gambia, lol mode waral rocheko yu bari.
Ñaka gum sa bopa man lol la ko fokk.
Insecurities that
surround the individuals
mode waral lol. Because if you believe in that, I mean, you worth your salt, you should be bold enough to take a stand. Like you said, it goes beyond just, you know, commemorating, celebrating our works, or our reflecting on our previous work experiences and all that. Where it should be about also demanding
accountability.
Accountability, of course. Like those instances you've explained, the issues of harassment, abuse, the issues of exploitation, you know, low wages or incentives, and literally, we need a rest. I mean, workers need rest.
Yes.
That is a fundamental right. You are not a machine. Even machines rest. You know, backup machines.
Exactly.
But how many of us actually, I mean, have that? Even so, at some point, do they make a consume chobare wala sun living? So all those things are issues that is supposed to be reflected.
Absolutely, a very interesting message from one of our staff, Lamin Sow. He said, "Workers' Day is a day to reflect and assess the plight of workers and work environments. It is beyond the traditional corporate interhouse.
It is beyond.
We are fond of in the Gambia. Gambia should establish minimum livable wages."
Wow.
Employee benefits and right must be greatly looked at.
Wow.
Thank you, Lamin Sow.
I totally agree with Lamin Sow on that matter. So, legi, for now, moving forward, comme nama ko waxe dogo syndrome bi, insecurity, moo tax ñun ñëpp dañu war a build suñ capacity. Xam nga loolu la moo ko dee waral workers union yi duñ mën a déggu ñaaka build sa capacity man noonu laa ko gisee because if your capacity is not built ba pare amuloo skill di nga ragal ne if I stand up for myself in a workplace dañ maa daaxate du ma am feneen waaye yow soo xamee ne am nga skill moo tax skill bi buñ ko caaxaanee
boobu yaa ko
moom foo dem da nga koo yóbbaale gisuloo yow nga ne baaba nga you were babbing tey GFF suñ la ne bàyyi liggéey di nga dem ba am nga skill am nga liggéey so let us make sure te loolu comes down to institutions yi ñoo war a dimbale seen staff yi ñu build seen capacity si because si ñoom la ñoo liggéey and when they come back si ñoom la ñoo invest in so waxuñ ne Mayday sports buñ dee def Banjul or si stadium bi baaxut waaye dañ ne rek ne on this day am na importance tam ñu oote a national dialogue of workers ñu toog you know su ko jaree sa président bi ñu invite ko vice président bi authorities yi ñoo toog ñu invite ILO ñu am honest conversations about work environments, about salaries, about anything lu munti doon ñu am conversation yooyu noonu te sometimes nga dem si institution yoo xam ne sax amuñ insurance da ngaa dem si institution nit mu ngi laa liggéeyal amul insurance kooku su fa gaañoo si workplace bi amul dara lu ko insure so all of these things are you know things that we should really reflect on but Amadou, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I mean we had to get into Mayday we had to get into Labor Day but then you know UTG is organizing a gala dinner to every year when the first council when the council comes and another one is coming you guys get to do that and congratulations you are the new public relations minister of the UTG SU and heading all these activities so tell us.
First, thank you. As the Information and Communications Minister of the 23rd Executive Council, we are a council that, of course, have inherited this initiative.
Yes.
The Convocation Gala Dinner is a charity event. I am first I have to really commend QTV for actually availing me this opportunity to be here, because so media would have thought, okay, it's a gala dinner, it's a commercial event, and then no, you can't come. But QTV, of course,
at a point, I thought so.
Yeah. So, but then you know, having known that this is a charity event that is meant to support underprivileged students at the University of the Gambia, like I said, it's an initiative that our council inherited, and the previous council before the last one that we inherited supported 40 students. The records are there. It's a 40% semesterly scholarship for these underprivileged students, and then the last council that actually we inherited from supported 50 students. There was an increment of 10 additional students, again a 40% I mean scholarship for those students, and our intention, our plan is to go beyond that, to sponsor beyond that. It is our belief that just yesterday I received a text message that this student actually wanted to register for her courses. Unfortunately, she didn't have any, support to, pay for her tuition fee, and then she had to wait for the next semester or the next portal window again to do that. So these are instances that we reflect on. The valedictorian for this year, for instance, for the 2024 graduating class for the MSILA, 2 days back was on a media platform, and he said this, that he applied at the University of the Gambia in 2019. Unfortunately, because he comes from a rural, from the rural Gambia, Woolly, and you understand that in 2019 when he applied, he couldn't afford the tuition fee, and then he had to, take a step back, go to the working field, because he was a qualified teacher. He had to go and teach and, raise funds so that he can come back again, just to, afford for his tuition fee. So in 2020, enrolled at the University of the Gambia. And today, he is the valedictorian, the overall best student of the University of the Gambia. Imagine Kokusu Amuton support, Kokusu Amuton chance. It could have been a waste. So we want to avoid instances where we have a lot of very, smart individuals, smart students, if they are supported, just push direct, they would be able to excel. That is the primary purpose of this. Of course, there is also the second fold is to celebrate them, of course, because it's a milestone achievement after the 4 years that at the university, or you've been there, you are a senior student and alumni, what you have to go through. So at least we celebrate also, just, we are together in this, and then, we say bravo to you, congratulations to you. So that is essentially the purpose of this event.
So let's talk about the preparation. How far have you gone with this
and who are you bringing? So on a gala dinner, putting in gender tickets, the expectations are they coming to see somebody?
Yes, wow, yeah. So we are hosting it at the OIC Conference Center, Conference Center, which is the first time.
UTG Hall.
Exactly.
Why you know
innovation? So that tells you that it's big. We want to go big. So of course, through our Welfare and Culture Minister, Honorable Anas Ensen, and the Finance Minister was supposed to be here, Modlamin Drame. Unfortunately, there has been miscommunication. He went to Q City instead of QTV. So also the artists who are voluntarily coming to also support the initiative. We have the Bright Stars, of course, alumni of the University of the Gambia. Asanak team, they are coming. We have ST is also
ST is performing
voluntarily, at the gala dinner.
Wow.
The moment we communicated to him regarding this event, he has a role to play as far as it is giving back to the students, giving back to the community. So we should see times, so I still want okay, what details do you need for the flyer and all that. We have different videos to also talk about the event. So yeah, it shows that they are interested in this. We have JWZ, we have Mariam Cham. Mariam Cham is also coming because in fact, for mom, I think it only took us a message to text her and she said,
mom, she's
university, come on, we have to support the students because we've seen what they've achieved. So and we have lots of other, guest artists, performers, where I see main package, Malls is also coming.
He's also doing it
voluntarily.
This is great.
Voluntarily. In essence, everyone wants to support.
So, Ahmad, when these funds are gathered already, what is going to be the mood or the procedure, to help these students in need?
Yeah, so for accountability purposes, and because this is what we do, we want to set up something, if even if you don't have to ask me, the records would always be there for you to see. So what we do is we set up a special committee, which would involve, of course, the education minister and, you know, other, I mean, in fact, even the student body would be represented as well, the management as well. You set up a committee, and there will be criteria that will be set, of course. It's not just because, okay, once you're on a privileged background, like okay, automatically your CGPA has to be good. You have to be proof us that your results are good. You are, I mean, committed or determined to read. You know, and you said beyond that, your comportment as a university student, you shouldn't be acting or behaving like a primary school child.
The person, all that, because that can actually show impact.
Exactly. I'm not okay, one might say, okay, man, see province la joge, or okay, man, see underprivileged family background la joge, but you are working, you are from the working class. You get salaries compared to someone who, you know, is not working. Then they said, there are lots of criteria. I am not part of that committee yet, but it's one of our plans to set up that committee, and then they'll look through all this, then through that, the apply because it's going to be an application. All the entire university student will apply. So soon you apply, then just say that time. If you look at the schools, then you open it. For example, School of Journalism and Digital Media, ITC, Education, whatever, compared to BPA and SAS, School of Arts and Science. So then I just say, you then could consider, okay, you cannot take, you know, the equal amount. Let's say 5 from journalism students, 5 from BPA. The ratio shouldn't be equal because by virtue of their density. So there are lots of criteria that we look at, but beyond that also, we ensure that the information is transparent. That at the end of the day, new sponsor, their details, their names, their mark numbers, and you know, the class, the school they come from, it's all going to be on the records. So that
but it will not be published.
No, it will not be published. Okay, these were the students that I mean we are sponsored and so on. So in fact, I could be wrong, but I think the last council they published the names of the students that receive. It's the mark numbers, sorry, not the names. The mark numbers.
Okay,
of
that
the students,
makes sense.
and the schools that they come from.
Okay.
All right. So table, I mean, how much are we selling our table?
Yeah, so tables in Yunge Ote, New Gender. Individual tickets amna $1,700. I expect you both to
1,000 one individual.
Wow, 1,700.
1,700 for UTG students.
For UTG students and any other. Compared to Fumo.
Hana leka dafa am.
Of course.
Gala
dafa am. Fecha
dafa am.
So
okay.
1,700, I think it's reasonable. I think the previous council ticket be 1,500 loan. Why again you look at the venue where
bowling jail,
you know, the cost
and you are selling tables as well.
Selling tables as well. I'm diamond table, gold table, silver table. Diamond table is $100,000, and then the gold table is $75,000. Then the silver table is $50,000. And
are the invite corporate tamit?
Yes. We've written, wow, as of today we're still making follow-ups. Corporate living office institutions, you know, and we have received few confirmations now. Of course, they will support because they again look at the purpose. It's a worthy cause.
It's a worthy cause.
They support.
Yeah. Okay, Ibrahim, abdanga agenda diamond, platinum.
No,
man, you like.
Good morning, so table bu nekk 10 seats la.
Table bu nekk 10 seats.
10 seats la. So
10 seats.
Kon yow mun nga jënd diamond?
Wow.
Wala platinum.
It's a cameraman.
I'm going to buy a table, but individual mun na ko jënd.
One, okay, Oyuma ki confirm na ticketam. Dimbale ko. Dina la ko send either way. Wa nga mo am ticket. Si télé bi la ko confirmer nak.
Légui yow nak
non man maa yow dinañ wax si pet.
Jarul pet. Fii laa ko confirmer, fii nga ko confirmer.
Bale da ngay bàyyi sa nag mu laa jéem.
Kii dafa dee du.
But
anyway, we wish you a successful event because Lee is a worthy cause. The fact ne students will be sponsored, put ñu mën a jàng, jox nga ñu example valedictorian. So at the end of the day, people need help to be able to complete this and then, you know, take their lives onto another stage. Right now, mom, at least the bare minimum education is very important. Not for the grades or anything, but you need it as a boost, you know, for any career path that you are intending to take. But we're wishing you good luck. Yo, mom, xam nañ ne dinga ko zéré yow. Amadou Oba mooy Amadou Oba ñëpp. Dafa régler mbir.
He's very proactive.
Wow, he's very proactive. You know, because dinga gis ne si UTG SU election bi sax, he did not come from Team Alliance. you know, he came from the other team,
Coalition.
Solutionist, Salvationist,
Coalition.
and then
Moving.
he was able to be, you know, voted for, even though Alliance won, you know, the entire bid.
Most of the...
Yes, and they won the presidency.
It's actually a par, 6-6.
6-6. Why hanga president sabe mo gina ampoa?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, but the vice
Hanga
is
dika
also...
feeling joge why nañu
Senate
waxante
and
dëgg
council.
rek.
No, at this point, I am seated as a council member. Jóge ma fenn.
Xam naa waaye lu ma miin mooy xam nga rek ñoom ñoo win presidency bi dëgg neexul di presidency bi am na poids
presidency ak vice yëpp fa nekk
from them
no there's vice from the coalition, presidency from alliance.
I like the balance.
Yeah,
it means it's very democratic.
It is very balanced.
Yeah, one camp did not win everything.
Across all the sectors associated, finance is from alliance, I'm secretary from coalition. So it's kind of balanced.
Wow. But Legi Mom, it's not about party anymore.
Exactly.
Legi, you guys are working together.
And we love how it has started.
It's
good
so like that.
It's good.
Pour ñu mëna change suñ political landscape bi ci dëkk bi.
Yeah.
Dañu wara am fu ñu
It starts here.
Because that mentality suñ ko amé, okay, nekkul ne dañoo xëccoo. Why we are all towards you know, a positive cause. Understand nga?
Pour nit ñi la.
So that
is the impact.
Why UTG politics moo gën UTG politics moo raw 2026 politics bu ñoo am ci ni ñii bi ko politique bi dañ ko serious loo de am ay political party ñu am fi debate bu garaaw
te noonu la fa war a demee tamit
amoon na time sax there was a time they have to take certain thing to court.
Yeah, no, I'm
not
a tribunal.
They have a tribunal.
I'm a legislative body, National Assembly, National Assembly.
I like that. I like that.
Even Demba, sir, so you welfare minister Demba, she has to go and defend her budget, you know, before the legislative body. So
like
National Assembly as a minister, and them defend her budget.
But why we just hope ne
justice minister.
Exactly. We just hope ne lead in a translate into, you know, National Assembly again. Just recently, I'm on the National Youth Parliament, and we were talking about how they, you know, it's a mirror of the National Assembly, but how that didn't keep spirit to actually run for office, you know, for the not too young to lead campaign and everything. But thank you so much, Amadou.
Thank you. The event is Saturday, please.
The event is Saturday.
At the Sadaura Kairaba Conference Center.
8 p.m. onwards.
All right, so 8 p.m. onwards. There's diamond table. There's gold and silver, and tickets are just 1,700. Go and support the University of the Gambia and sponsor a University of the Gambia student. That's the whole goal. So Ibrahim, moving on, when we come back, we'll be joined by Dr. Chernobari, who's an author, and he's launching 4 books in one day. I would really love to know the story behind launching 4 books in one day. Must be a very, you know, hectic thing to do.
Absolutely.
And it requires patience as well. So he'll be joining us shortly to tell us the story behind everything. We'll be right back.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send Q money, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow.
Gas, the energy that brings us together.
Powered by Africa, Oryx Energies.
Kiusel moy suñu boss. Kiusel moy suñu boss. Kiusel moy suñu boss. Go, ebe dawa full network suda tili QCell. Ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata QCell. Most reliable network dumala keta wati QCell. Wo quality man nyon soda jam ona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria QCell suñu boss. Nyo finjeka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Suñu boss. Itella follow adi doron nesa sa keno Gambia bela nyon tawa fele kiusel Ko fasun tawa buka busi kiusel Itella molti milka kukutol Nati Gambia kiusel meta lori la kilianol Yele imanjina amanda wala itella ka quality Dila dadi ma itelle silo wala wodol mume be keno ma Kiusel sunibus Kiusel sunibus Kiusel sunibus Kiusel sunibus Wanex solo be bambandi Kiusel sunibus Kiusel most innovative Kiusel sunibus
Back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And now, Ibrahim, we're joined by Dr. Chernobari, and he's an author, and he's launching 4 books this coming month, and we're excited to know everything about it. But before that, Dr. Bari, I've personally never interviewed you or had a conversation with you on, just reflecting on your journey as a writer, in the Gambia. First off, before we talk about the books, let's talk about, being an author in the Gambia, growing up, and maybe not directly comparing before then and now. Obviously, it's different, but just, give us the difference between things that you see now and what you've gone through while you were young, writing books and the whole literature scene in the Gambia.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here on the morning show at Q Radio, or QTV,
yeah.
And also, talk to your audiences. Writing in the Gambia, let me first of all say that personally I didn't evolve as a writer.
Okay.
I evolved more as a literary critic.
Yes.
And being a literary critic, what that means is that I had to do a comprehensive review of the works of Gambian authors.
Yeah.
And in the process, I came to discover a lot of Gambians who wrote, but who were in the shadows. They were never completely known.
Yeah.
Even now, as I lecture teachers, English teachers, what I come to discover is that they don't even know more than 5 Gambian writers. If I tell them, give me 5, I can bet $2,000 is nobody could give me even 3.
Okay.
Yes, some
Do
few
you still
names.
bet the $2,000 now?
Well, I will not risk it now. I know for certain that a lot of people would, what will pop to mind is Landry Peters, Dr. Landry Peters. Some will remember Nana Gray Johnson.
Yeah.
Some will remember, on very rare occasions, a few other authors.
Yeah.
Why? Because they might have probably learned these authors either during when they were doing secondary school literature, or maybe they were doing it at Gambia College or the UTG.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about having the passion to read, having to go to a bookshop like Timbuktu, wanting to buy a book there and then reading it. So this is not something that is very usual. Reading culture is very difficult today, and people hardly read. What I have done actually is that I discovered Gambian literature when I was doing my bachelor's degree. That is in '97. And gradually, the interest grew when I was doing my master's. We have somebody who is presently in the Gambia, and this is the reason why we are, accelerating the book launch.
Yeah.
He's called Professor Jean-Dominique Penel. He's a French.
Yeah.
When he came to the Gambia, he's the one who started encouraging Gambians to start researching in their literature. And I was one of those. Professor Pierre Gomez is one of those. Dr. Mamadou Tangara, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, one of those. So we were a crop of Gambian scholars who were now encouraged to do so. So as I started discovering Gambian literature, I started writing about it on the Daily Observer. And this was between 2004, 2005. So I wrote a lot of articles in the Daily Observer, the Independent newspaper, the Point newspaper, for about a year or two. And this is how I also started doing more research on Gambian literature.
Okay.
And yes, I have seen that there has been a great interest in writing and book launching.
Now.
Yes, in the last decade.
And I was going to come to that, not to cut you, but, in as much as there's improvement, there's now writing. Young people especially have been encouraged to do so. But on the other hand, you know, the criticisms are there that the book, every single time you see somebody launching a book. So are we losing quality? Is it becoming, you know, something so easy to an extent that anybody from anywhere could do it, and then, you know, the quality that we deserve as readers, we wouldn't get that? What do you say to that argument?
I'm happy that you have touched that point, because you see, when you are writing, actually the writing process is a very, very challenging one. The good writers sometimes will take a decade or even 2 to write a book. They can write one book for almost 20 years, or maybe 5 years, or maybe 10 years. What is happening now is that you'll find young writers who are very eager and you will immediately write a book. Probably it will take them about a year or less to see a book on the shelves. I do not discourage the passion. I encourage it, definitely. As the president of the Writers Association, I keep encouraging young writers to write. But yes, now we put our finger to the quality. In the rush to publish, they do not take the time to allow the book to pass through a certain process. Because books, for them to really get to a shelf, it's like when you are cooking food. You don't just buy the vegetables and you come and then just mix everything once and for all and then put it there. So before you cook, you know that there's something to cook first, and another thing, then another thing, and eventually it all becomes one composite thing, and then you serve it for the food to be appreciated. When you are publishing a book, when you write it, the first draft is called a manuscript. So this one needs to go through what we call, first of all, proofreading. Meaning somebody should go and check whether the grammar is well done, the literature is well done, you know, you have respected language rules. Once that is done, there is what we call the copy editing. Your flow of ideas, the development of your character, how you have expressed the plot, how you have developed your plot. And all these things are more complex. Unfortunately, some of the writers don't understand these literary terms. You know, sometimes in writing, you write, yes, you are developing a story, but you also make inside the reader to enjoy reading. So you use onomatopoeia, oxymorons, and all those similes, and things that will allow the reader to really appreciate language. And the appreciation of language is another encouragement to read. But unfortunately, that appreciation of language is what is missing.
It is.
In most cases. So when people write, you don't find that there. So you just find what is, it's like it is
straight up.
Not, yeah, exactly. So it doesn't really encourage the reading. It's not. It's an essay. It's
kind of basic.
It's very
Let
basic.
me put it that way.
Yes, exactly. It's very basic. And if you don't develop the characters also, the interaction of the characters and a host of things, you find it is a problematic thing. So what I've been doing initially was to read some of the manuscripts. Some writers came to me, and I had to take them through a whole process of reviewing their books. Others came when they already have advertised that they are going to launch.
So that's a
problem.
problem.
When they came and I look at their book, I say, your book is not ready for launching.
Oh my God.
So well, I've advertised. I say, okay, go ahead, launch your book. But please remember, this book is not good. Because if you put it on the shelves, it goes with your name and it will remain there forever.
And it's not a good book.
Yeah, it's like, for example, milk that is poured on the ground. You cannot pick it up again. It's too late. So I said, take your time, don't rush. And this is why the Writers Association is now working with Catalyst Academy, owned by Professor Mamadou Sala. We are intending to create what we call literary workshops, so that we can encourage writers to join these workshops. It's a form of a training, a hub, and allow them to spend a week or so to start learning how to develop their stories, how to develop their characters, how to develop their plots, so that a story will grow under their pen because they are willing. And then eventually they will start getting good stories on the shelves.
Doctor, we have books here.
Yeah,
I mean,
that are going to be
they
launched.
look identical,
Yes.
and we've seen volume 1, 2, 3, up to 4.
Yes.
But the name is very interesting.
Yes.
Why is it called
Danan?
Danan?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is now a literary history I'm going through. You have to remember that in the Gambia, the first crop of writers that started coming together was in 1971. So this is Suwaibu Konate, late Suwaibu Konate, late Hassan Aijany, late Hasum Sise. Now this is not the Hasum Sise we have now. It's the late the uncle. Yes, this was in 71. And then and then presently Gabriel Roberts, who is still alive, who's about 100 this year. Marcel Tomasi, who is still alive. Charles Jau, the late Charles Jau. These are the people who felt that they needed to give a platform for young writers who were eager to also write like we are doing now, and to allow them to hone their skills by publishing their works. It will go through the process of editing and etc. before they put it in a magazine. They call that magazine Danan. And you find that that is the old Danan. This was the one published. Yes, it was the one published in 1971.
Wow.
You will look at this Danan, and it was costing $1 at the time. I'm sure that was a lot of money now. So this Danan started coming out in 1971. Okay. And it continued to produce every year 2 volumes. In 1971, there was only 1 volume. 72, 73, 2 volumes each. But 74, it skipped.
Okay.
Because there of technicality. 75, 75, it brought 2 volumes, and 1 volume, 76, 1 volume, and it stopped. So in short, it brought out about 7 volumes. Now, what happened is that during this process, you have about 69 contributors. Out of the 69 contributors, are about 10 women. And among the women, let me cite, you have Jukafatu Jabang, who is very well known now as an educationist, who was then a young graduate in a university at the time. You have Ami Drame, who is better known today as Ami Bensouda, who was then in the 6th form, was 16 years old when she also contributed. Just to give you those names. But then we also had a lot of young men who started their career as writers with Danan.
Nice.
You have Nana Gray Johnson. That's when he started. He published few works. You had Tijan Sala, who is now an international renowned poet. So all these people started their career with Danan. So Danan, in a way, is what we call a generation of writers, an exceptional one. Why are we republishing this? It's because Danan got lost. In the process, there was no more book. You cannot find it anywhere. Only those who were writing before had copies. By the way, Deda Haidara also wrote in this, but he used to write in French, and they will translate it in English.
Wow.
And you have Babukar Gay, the publisher. You have a lot of exceptional people.
Doctor, how long does it take you to write the volume 1? It's like volume 1 is bulky. I mean,
okay, you will notice that the 7 volumes had several stories. They had short stories, they had essays, they had poems, and they had drama plays. You know. So what I did was, I decided to do the research. Now, this research was encouraged by Jean-Dominique Penel, who is presently in the Gambia, who will be part of the launching tomorrow. And Jean-Dominique allowed me an opportunity to get all the copies. And I started now reviewing them, retyping them, re-editing them, and then recompiling them. This is why you have 4 volumes. So each volume is a theme. You have 1 volume only collection of stories, 1 volume only a collection of plays, 1 volume only a collection of poetry, and another volume only the essays and the editorials. So it took me 20 years to get all of this compiled and ready. In fact, it would have taken me a little longer to just do the final editing, because there's still final editing going on. But Jean-Dominique arrived, so we said that I've given it to some people to review, like Hasum Sise, Tijan Sala, Nana Gray Jones. They reviewed it, and they feel it is good to go to launch it.
So young people who are writers, you see, so on my youth show, I've kind of about to now stop inviting young writers when they're launching. Not because, don't get me wrong, not because of anything, but because I've always suspected that these books do not go through a process. And we want to encourage quality.
Exactly.
You know, even as a television, we want to show quality and all of that. Because all the time they would contact me, Jainaba, I'm launching a book. It's a youth show. I want to come on. Sometimes I would be reluctant. I've rejected a few. And then just lastly, I had one, but I'm like, I will not do it now. Because the reason is because we do not want to validate, you know, things that we, you know, are not good to be injected in society. So I'm glad that we're able to have you here. And then you've done this for 20, it had to take you 20 years to compile this. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut this part and get it on one of my shows that young people follow, just so they understand that sometimes to get good things out there, it needs to take time.
Sometimes
look, we appreciate the enthusiasm, we appreciate the eagerness. But, you know, it's like cooking food. You have to wait for it to really cook.
Like you said.
You know, it doesn't matter how much you are hungry. If the rice is not properly cooked, you will not enjoy it. So a book is like that. You have to take your time. You have to, first of all, get all your research. Because you see, even writing fiction, which I have done,
requires research.
Writing fiction is like Lebon and Lupin. But Lebon and Lupin didn't just drop from the sky. It took time. Because the Lebon and Lupin, something is injected in it. There's some moral stories in Lobi Lobo. So it is crafted in a way that the characters have a way to interact. Each of them has a personality, and that personality is what emerges eventually to teach the moral lesson. So even if you want to write a story, take your time, write it. Once you finish, find editors, let them do it, proofreaders, let them take it, give it to a full publisher who will now go through the rigorous process of looking through your work and allowing you an opportunity to bring out a very, very good book that will, sell internationally.
Yeah. So do you see your books as an activism or a cultural preservation?
Yes, it's more of a cultural preservation because, as I said, Ndanan is a moment in our literary history. We have lost that moment because we didn't find the books. We felt it is right to bring it back to the shelves. So what Ndanan will do now is to bring back the stories that were published during the time. Many people will start now seeing how much effort is being done in writing these stories or writing the plays or doing the reviews. And naturally, people will get used to enjoying, reading these stories and maybe learn from them. And Ndanan is supposed to also be encouraged into our schools because the whole point is, when you talk about Ndanan here, it's called champion. That's the definition we have for Ndanan. It can mean anything else, but it means champion here. So what it means is that let's champion our own literary pride, our own literary history. Because yes, we might as well have young ones writing, but we do have also what we call the canons. There are exceptional works of literature that has been written by Gambians, and they are around.
Actually, Balde was asking if it's activism-based or culture, but I feel like you're doing both. Because, for example, All That Glitters, reading just through, the short explanation, I could immediately tell exploitation, corruption, somebody beautiful
and I've
in
also
wealth.
gone through the page here.
Exactly.
I've seen a story on Kubone, something that has to do with Kubone.
So basically, I was just trying to put across the fact that I feel like you're doing both. You're trying to strike a balance. Hanga ki dafa am problem ak activism.
Actually,
activism la am problem. So I'm sure that is why he brought
no, but genuine activism.
No, tomorrow we are launching Ndanan. These are 4 volumes. So that's the first phase of my launching. In fact, I told some colleagues that I have been hibernating. I've always been supporting writers, building them up, making them publish.
About what you
and mine is coming late. I took time to bloom. But what have happened is that I have also been doing my research. I've been writing. I have manuscripts. And now, presently, I have about 10 books. So we have 4 coming out tomorrow. And we have another 4 that are in the pipeline that will come out by the end of...
all these?
Yes,
We've
yes,
also
exactly.
seen book in French. You also write in French.
Oh, yes, I do write in French too. Yes, because remember, I did my PhD in French. So I write in French as much as I can write in English. So yes, we have some few books coming out. We have an anthology of short stories by great Gambian writers. We have... All That Glitters is a novel. It's my first novel.
But I see some sense of activism.
You will love it because it's about corruption. And I use a political figure. And then I decided, because I was part of part of the government, the senior government officer. So I understand a little bit about how corruption gets along with our culture. And sometimes, even now, as we speak about corruption, I have the feeling people still don't understand how it is defined. Because you see, corruption is so integrated in our culture that almost all of us are corrupt. But sometimes we don't see it.
We don't even notice.
We don't even know it. We are not conscious of that corruption. And we create the corrupt people too. And yet we blame them for being corrupt. So we have to understand the whole concept of corruption. And this is just one part of that story. This is the first phase, All That Glitters. And the second phase is going to come. I'm sure you understand that All That Glitters means it's not gold, right?
But just All That Glitters.
Yes, All That Glitters. So I stop it in suspension. But there is another part of the story that will come. It will give you now the hint on how politicians really get into corruption. And in some cases, you have to really, sympathize with them. Because some people are forced into corruption. They don't choose it. It's not by design. It's because they have been forced into corruption by the society itself. And because they are not conscious they are being corrupt, they thought they are being kind, they are being generous, they are being happy. And eventually what happens is that society now condemns them when they are become victim of that corruption. So
I feel like this is a must-read.
Exactly.
All That Glitters is a must-read for everybody because corruption remains one of, it's a pandemic.
Yes, it is.
It's a pandemic. And like you said, sometimes we do this unknowingly. And I feel like this is a must-read. Just for us to understand.
Just let me give you a hint. Today, if, may Allah forbid, you have a relative who is being fired from his job. And then now the relative comes to you, Dimbalema, why small boss of Madaha? What do you first do? Your first instinct. What do? You want to go and beg for the person.
Wow.
You go to the guy, you say, why? Because you have the connection.
Oh, exactly.
You are corrupting the system.
Because it's a disciplinary
So
action.
first of all, you have to find out why he has been sent out. And if it is the good cause, you tell the guy that why we don't do that. You say, okay, then you go and then try to beg for the person to be reinstated. And then you go to the guy, Mingla Rus, why correct today? Already, we have corrupted the system because the guy going back to that job might have been fired because of a wrong reason, for having done something wrong. Now you integrate the person in the system, you are now doing in nepotism. It's all part of the corruption. So this is what our society is good at, but we are not conscious of it.
Yeah.
And now, tomorrow, so in the corrupt, you know, this is us. Exactly.
So I think we should,
we should be seeing corruption with different lenses.
We should definitely be seeing. Sometimes the people we even think are corrupt are not.
Exactly. You know? As I said, there have been, some people are twisted into the system.
Yeah.
You twist their hands, and then when they do certain things, because they do it in good faith, but it's a corrupt act that they have done.
Yeah.
And if the law falls on them and they are fired or something like that, now they realize probably they are now conscious that what they were doing was wrong. They thought they were doing a favor, but it was a wrong thing.
Yeah.
And then later they realize that they become a victim of the system.
Yeah.
And then when they explain to anybody, they say, so we don't have sympathy for that, but we have to understand that we are the ones creating the corruption.
Dr. Cracks in the Mirror.
Crack in the Mirror is a wonderful story about myself, how I have grown up, and also here I will talk about my civil service experience, how I fell out in the previous government.
I can see your picture with
with some cracks. Yes.
Yeah.
So actually it tells a lot about where I have faced challenges in my life, and eventually I also was taken to the NIA by the last government, wrongfully accused, but also exonerated after the new government came in. So it's a story that resonates with the story of many other Gambians.
Exactly.
So Cracks in the Mirror could be a very good read.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're all going to be launched later, not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, but good luck on the launch.
Thank you very
tomorrow.
much.
So are you expecting any high levels?
Yes, actually in Danan, most of those who have been really related to Ndanan, meaning the families of Hasum Sise, the families of Suwaibu Konaki, they have all been alerted. And I'm hoping that they will all come. But also Ndanan is something that we have been teaching in the University of the Gambia. Even one student told me that, we did this at the university. So it's introduction to Gambian literature, uses Ndanan as part of their material. So I'm hoping that we will have a lot of people to come and join us. We have several ministers who are willing to join us.
Oh, nice.
So we have senior government officers who might come.
Tomorrow, inshallah.
Yeah, we have several sponsors. But I'm happy to mention that, my brother, Mohammed Jah, has been also a very good support, to this launch.
All right, amazing. So good luck tomorrow.
Yes,
and we're looking forward to the launch of other books.
Yes.
And then I'm glad that you are the president of the Writers Association, because then you are able to guide the young ones.
Yes.
I'm very particular about them.
Yeah,
I've been a voice, just raising concerns on the launch, and I believe that if they're watching, the explanation that you've given, that you're not discouraging them, but you're using this to encourage them so that they produce quality. I think that is a good thing.
Let them read. You see, the magic thing about writing is reading as widely as possible. Gambians don't read, and if you cannot write when you don't read, you don't just jump into writing because you are at the University of the Gambia, you are in the English class, and the English class is interesting, and all of a sudden you want to write. Yes, read first. Read, build your culture, what we call your literary culture, your linguistic baggage, and then you start writing. When you start writing, it is more fluid, it's much easier, and then I'm sure you will enjoy it.
All right, thank you so much
for joining us on the program. Thank you very much indeed
for receiving me.
Yes, Bande Balda. So you will get our support, don't worry.
All right, so we'll just go for a short break, and when we come back, we have a team in Banjul for the Mayday sports. So when we come back, we'll be connecting with them just to see how workers are at the Makati Square in Banjul, and just using this opportunity to interact and just do different games. But always remember, it's beyond that, like we mentioned. It's also having the right discussions about workers' conditions. We will be right back.
Q
Kiumoni arti webi nafitora gol no yawi te non kadi no moƴƴi Kiumoni a wawa wadde piiji ɗin fow kala ko wonɗa wattu kala a wawa hendade mbuuɗi maɗin e o Kiumoni app kesong a wawa nattinde mbuuɗi ma ɗum yaltina soda credit soda kiw power soda ko falaɗa te non kadi wawa hen yoɓude himɓe e ko heewi ina wawi kadi nuldude Kiumoni yoɓa bilji maɗin te non kadi hendoɗa mbuuɗi ko yaasi nulda himɓe kadi mbuuɗi fi nafitoragol ɗum no weeɓi yahu ka play store ma ɗum ka app store fi wawa fuɗɗade fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi noddu Kiumoni customer care e 133 Kiumoni suñu kalpe minen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki Kiumoni e muruntananne koteke anilañi mobile app sone yaringo alanna yata ndum e se kuwol be keno ibe dawoda wati o wati e se muna fanno ila kodola anin Kiumoni la ñim mobile app kuto e se kodo dundino ye kodo fintinde e se credit ko sanno ye Q power sang ye fengol sang ndum fanan e se mol jono anin ku jamalu e se Kiumoni kino ye la bilol jo ndum fanan bantala banko se kodo kiyeno e se kodo fanan kino do kotenye pour que muna fanyina a download sign play store anin app store ni la taka kusenango soto je Kiumoni customer care commandi 133 Kiumoni suñu kalpe ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma
Taking a break isn't about stopping. It's about recharging for the next stage. Welcome to our oasis.
Powered by Africa, Oris Energies.
Kiumoni delsina ak sen mobile app bu bees bi orna gawna te it mun nga koo jëfandikoo pour def ci loo bëgga foo mun di ne waxtu bu ne mun ngaa jot sa xaalis ak Kiumoni mobile app bu bees bi mun ngaa dugal xaalis génnee xaalis jënd si crédit jënd si Q power jënd loo bëgga ak yu bëri mun nga ci yónnee Kiumoni fay sa bill si jot xaalis bitim réew yónnee xaalis ci noo ko bëggee looy def yomba na downloadal app bi léegi ca Play Store bu dul loolu App Store pour nga door pour am si lu leer koolal Kiumoni customer care si 133 Kiumoni suñu kalpe ñoo xaali yoon wi ñeneen toppa
Oryx Service. Top teamwork for top performance.
Powered by Africa, Oris Energies.
Gas, the energy that brings us together.
Powered by Africa, Oris Energies.
Qcell mooy suñu boss. Qcell mooy suñu boss. Qcell mooy suñu boss. Kër soro Go, ebeda wada full network suda tili. Ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata. Most reliable network dumala geta wati. Wo quality man yon soda jam ona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria. Nyo finjeka indi 3G new delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Itella follow adi doron nesa keno. Gambia bela nyon tawo fele QCell. Ko fasunta buka busi QCell. Itella multi milka kukutol nati Gambia QCell meta lori la kiliano liele imanjina amanda wala itella ka quality dila dadi ma itelle silo wala wodol mume be keno ma. QCell sunyu boss QCell sunyu boss QCell sunyu boss QCell.
Welcome back from that short break, and special thanks to Dr. Chernobyl, and good luck once again ahead of his launch. Ibrahima, it's Mayday today, and workers are gathered at the Makati Square in Banjul and having talk of war, you know, Greasy Pole. When I was young, watching Greasy Pole was part of Monia kon logena me to put need moving ko Greasy Pole.
Very
Greasy Pole.
Very interesting game.
Greasy Pole.
Greasy Pole. I mean, lolu ñu mëna egg rek ñoko.
Ba pare hanga man la mama daan na xari ci Greasy Pole bi. Greasy Pole bi ku yow mi ñëk dem do ko meek because hanga ñeneen ni grease bi wañé ko na. So yow bala fana nawek
Greasy Pole nawek ak gamtel.
Waaw ekkati.
Waaw ñoo ko dem
ekkati ya ko de mëna wacé.
You know, talk of war nga am Gambia am
forces obviously.
Ñoo ko de mëna gëné. Wow, interesting. Well, I think now things are changing. The Workers' Day, it's no more the way it used to be.
It used to be really fun.
You know, we used to enjoy it. I've been looking forward to it. Kuneka yangi sol
track suit.
You know, but totally different now, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess the hype and that environment, you know, I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I don't know why either. They should, I feel like they should bring it back and also consider the dialogues alongside you.
Very important. But why have that nini hamne Workers' Day dafa important pour ñu mëna tok ñu reflect ñu rek ñu waxtaan. Why most people don't understand that. They don't really know what the motive behind it. Dañu fogg ne solo la rek nga dem ngeen gisante caaxaan ku nekk dem.
It's beyond that. It's beyond that.
So I believe Gajaga would be able to tell us what is happening.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. For him to join us and actually give us an update on what is happening there. So Momodu Gajaga is right now at the Makati Square in Banjul. Momodu Gajaga, good morning. Gajaga, can you hear me? So it seems right now the march past is taking place because before the activities commence, there's usually a march past, and then after the march past, then also there's usually speeches from the Minister of Youth and Sports and order.
Well, I can't hear you, Jennifer, but just to describe the scene for you here at the Makati Square in Banjul, we just finished the march past of different companies, agencies, government departments who came together to celebrate Workers' Day. But here in the Gambia, it's called Mayday, and also Mayday with sporting activities. It is celebrated in a very unique way, different from other countries. If you go to other countries, maybe today it's trade unions, workers' unions who will be coming out, to talk about some of the challenges that they are going through, and some of the things that are not going their way and complaining it, sometimes even protest. But here in the Gambia it's different. Different companies, government agencies and departments would come together, do a morning march past, and from that march past in the evening we have some various sporting activities. So that is how it is celebrated in the Gambia. Currently the ceremony is led by the police band, who are having some very nice sounds there on the background, as you could hear it. And aside from that, later there would be speeches from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, also from the Office of the Vice President, and also the Gambia Trades Union as well. Members would be giving statements concerning the importance of today.
So Gajaga, what are some of the major games happening today? What are some of the major games taking center stage? Are we going to see the famous Greasy Pole that we all look forward to? I'm not sure Gajaga is getting me. I'm not sure Gajaga is getting me, but he's just informed us that...
well, Jennifer, I can't hear you, so maybe I'll just hand over back to the studio until we re-establish connections again.
All right, thank you so much for that update, Mamadou Gajaga. So that's Mamadou Gajaga right there at the Makati Square in Banjul. And like he rightly mentioned, Gambia has a unique way of commemorating Workers' Day. And even though it's based on sports and everything, but you can also see that some of the banners that they're holding has to do with decent work. I saw somebody holding a banner, you know, talking about decent work and sustainability in workplaces, something like that.
Well, Jennifer, the thing is, year in, year out, we do these things. I mean, we write banners and, you know, we show it to the authorities. But at the end of the time, how can we gauge whether improvements have been made, you know, dossiers? So it's really a big question to ask.
But for me, that is why I said it's important that each organization has unions. Each organizations have unions. Often you would see protests happening. It's not a bad thing. You know, it's not a bad thing. You have the Ministry of Trade, Regional Integration and Employment there. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, holding account, ensuring that, you know, employers are held accountable. That's the reason why it happens across the world. And it's normal. It's not something that should be frowned at.
Well, you see, I can talk on behalf of Gambians. You see, Gambians are very hardworking people, you know. You can see despite certain conditions at workplaces, I mean, you can see how people are keen to go and work. People are ready to go and fend for themselves. So it's important for the plight of these people to be considered.
Especially individuals who work in the informal sectors. You know, let's not forget those individuals. Some people work in the informal sectors, such as house helps, nannies, you know, drivers ñoom ñëpp dañ dee mën a xëy na drivers sax di nga wax ne comme xëy na ñoom some drivers ñu ngi registered under a company. Why informal sector is so wide, and then ñii dañ leen war a notice. For example, Domestic Workers Association bi, I know ne it's existing, waaye ndax dooleel nañ leen, dimbale nañ leen pour ñu understand ne ñoom tam dañ am right si biir dëkk bi, you know, ñu teg ay sarta yi nga xam ne ku def li nga xam ne naka sudut noonu la lu waa dal sa kaw, parce que liggéey la. It does not matter ndax si informal sector bi nga nekk ndax yaa ngi si formal sector bi, sa right la, and it should be protected. And fi mu nekk nii Makati Square in Banjul lañ nekk di gis ñoom ñëpp ñu ngi sol seen track suits yi in different colors, and it looks really beautiful. Nice na torop. Lii mu ngi maa remind time xale Mayday sports pour seetaan ko duma daan raw. It's something that you used to look forward to, because dang lay xalaat ne yow tamit someday di nga nekk liggéeykat ba pare di nga dugga into the system, di nga sol track suit bokk ak nit ñi, liggéey ak nit ñi, te foog naa lii dafa nekk loo xamante ne lu rafet la.
dafa important. I mean, it's a very significant day, whether ñu fa nekk xam nañ ko o xamuñ ko. Waaye globally bés bu am solo la. Ndaxte you know dafa tax ñu toog ñu reflect ñun rek ñu seet lan ak lan lañ war a adjust. waaye man autorité yi laa nekk di waxal ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo nekk si kanami askan wi. you know nañ try ñu góorgóorlu bu baax a baax. xam naa ne du dee yomb nag. Sometimes it's very difficult you know to be able to provide for everybody. pour ñu mun a equal duñ mun a equal tam. waaye nag at least it's important pour ñu mun a adjust basic things yoo xam ne people should get it. you know their place of work. loolu is incumbent upon ñi nga xam ne ñoo ko responsible pour ñu def ko.
ba pare Ibrahima ñun ñëpp gis nañ standard of living bi Gambia mu ngi yokku every single day. yokk maalo yokku na lele yokku na loolu blame muñ si government parce que xëj na ku xamut rek moo say blame government waaye loolu global figures la.
Absolutely.
du ne xëj na nguuri Gambie ñoo eewu benn suba rek yokka price maalo o yokka price diwlin loolu du fa dee demee noonu loolu daf dee nekk ne global wall bi yëpp foo dem am na prices yoo xam ne dafa yokk unless government ñu subsidize ko. loolu si government la des pour ñu subsidize ko te suñ ko subsidize dina war a mun a dimbale nit ñi. waaye standard of living bi dafa yokku so foog mu reflect suñ koom-koom.
Well, démba waxtaan na ak Dr. Cissé on this platform, and he made us you know I mean the government have increased salaries. I mean they understand the standard of living. I mean, the way people are living, things are very costly now. So he said, the government of the Gambia adjusted salaries. If you are receiving 6,000, now you might be receiving 8,000 and more. He said, okay, we cannot influence how prices are controlled in India or China, but what we can do is to make sure we adjust the income.
Wow, adjusting the income, lolu si man, mënuta make difference bu bari. Because comme ni ma la ko waxee ñun ñëpp xam nañ dëkk bi naka la mel. Man daal li ma gis mooy ñun inward si suñ biir dëkk lan lañ mun a def. Because maalo bi for exemple soo gisee mu seer dañ koo jëlee si biti dugal ko fi. Naka lañ mun a def pour def fi suñ maalo. Vegetables, fruits si boppam dañ koo import.
xam nga ñun Gambia fii dañ min lu bon. te loolu is affecting us mu ngi ñoo affect economically mu ngi ñoo affect si suñ koom-koom bi ak nu ñoo amee. mooy ñun we depend on import.
si biti rek
always import. ok da ngaa gis léegi sax su nekkee man béy naa soble. understand nga keneen indi na saaku buñ import si dëkk bi. buñ import bi la moo jënd la moo bugg a seet boobu la moo bugg a jënd. because bii sax bu nekkee seeru ba waaye dafa fil ne bii fii laa ko béyee.
ba pare baaxut.
understand nga. so I think that notion we need to stop gis nañ Burkina Faso. they are doing it. ñu ngi béy seen tomate ñu ngi béy seen soble. ñu ngi def seen def. ba pare ñu ngi reduce lu ñoo import seen dëkk. so I think that's the only way we can move as a nation.
as a nation man tamit noonu laa ko gisee yokka salary bi is one thing. but it's about even salary bi soo ko yokkee ba léegi bagages yi seer na. so lan lañ salary boobu lan la mun a jënd locally. li nga xam ne fii lañ ko defaree ba pare du seer. for example salary 10,000. si biir 10,000 boobu nga war see fay rent. nga war see fay sa doomi school. nga war see lekkee jëndee si maalo joxe si lunch. nga expect ne kooku du sàcca dafa sàcca.
waaw jéem a ba léegi 10,000.
kooku dina sàcca de
soo génnee ak moom nga génn ak moom rek sooy dugga sometimes nga gis ay 800.
moo si des ba pare kooku daf si war a dundalee njaboot. soo yow di nga gis ne kooku dina sàcca daga na lu ma sàcca nag.
yaa ngi war a fay school fii ay 15,000. so loolu dafa garaaw.
du mun a dem. du mun a dem.
sa school fii si xale yi moo ëpp ok yow loo dee.
waaw man nekkuma di justify corruption de. for exemple tey ñu ne waa police yi dañ dee taxaw si highway bi di ñaan. ñooñu xëj na kooku. poosam dara nekku fa. mu ngi xelaat ëllëg lu moo jox school fii samay lunch.
yaa ngi receive 5,000.
justify yuñ ko de naam. waaw justify yuñ ko. waaye fu mu nekk nii dafa mel ni gajaga mu ngi si.
ñëwaat na
gajaga ñëwaat na waaw.
okay let's see what I have for us.
waaw dafa mel ni gajaga mu ngi si line bi gajaga ba doon oh noonu dafa mel ni gajaga mu ngi si line bi already.
waaw ma laajte la.
waaw
yow.
waaw.
let's buñ yow lan nga foog ne. war nañ koo yokk si suñ place yi liggéeyukaay yi.
place yi liggéeyukaay yi
fu nekk.
waaw place yi liggéeyukaay yi daal man foog naa ne because for example dëkkuwaay dafa seer. dëkkuwaay dafa seer man lu ma gën a bugg a place yi liggéeyukaay yi ñu yokk mooy waa Gajaga mu ngi si line bi ñu dellu si waat si loolu. Gajaga
Workers' Union, but here in the Gambia is celebrated in a very unique way. Mr. Cham, tell us about the significance of this day.
Yeah, the significance of this day is for a sober reflection and renewal of our commitment, and upon which we are premised by the international protocols and accords. And it's also a stock taking. Yes, and it's a great day whereby workers should make projections relating to their terms and conditions of employment, their living conditions, their health, and etc., and give it to government for government to take appropriate actions in giving solutions to their problems.
When it comes to workers putting their grievances to government, and also even private companies where they work for, there are significant changes in terms of changing their work environment and also making life better for the employees?
Yeah, anyway, steps have been taken, and things are a bit better, not as expected, definitely, because workers are still exposed to precarious terms and conditions of employment, which yet are to be solved, by, let's say, unserious employers. But the serious ones, they are doing their best, and policies are being put in place to address the problems of workers in this country. And presently, we are working also to ratify international convention that will help the country and our policies in setting the standards in promoting and protecting the interests of workers in this country.
Let's say, what are some of the most common difficulties that workers face in the Gambia? Well, we all know exploitation is one of them.
Yeah, exploitation is one of them, and seriously rampant. Definitely, workers are just dismissed anyhow they like from their employment, terminated, unfair redundancy exercise, no off days, they work excess hours without being paid, even to proceed on leave is always a problem. Unless when you are dismissed is the time you can claim it as acute benefit, and etc. etc.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that is Mamadou Gajaga there interviewing one of the participants of the Mayday Sports at the Makati Square in Banjul. Balde, you asked me a question before we leave.
Yeah.
I feel like companies should prioritize giving loans to staff to acquire properties, because comme numa la ko waxe kuy am salary 10, 15, 20,000, 30,000 sa mënuta jënd land. Du ko mëna jënd. So in that case, I think government in particular lay waxal sax should do this, because dëkkuwaay dafa metti di nga gis kuy liggéey government ba pension amut kër. Amut kër.
And it's very sad.
And it's very sad. So fokk ñu ut waaye alhamdulillah union yi nga xam ne am nañ ay seen union yi nga xam ne dañ dee mën a fay soo paree nga jël laan nga koo fay ndanka gis nañ fi yooyu tamit. So we should thank those people because they're doing so well with those credit unions yi nga xam ne dañ ko put in place pour jàppale ñi nga xamante ne néew ji doole lañ te ñu ngi liggéey in the private sector te ñu ngi liggéey in the government as well. Because foog ñu jàppale especially dëkkuwaay dafa seer rent dafa seer Gambia.
nit su demee ba mu jël life am yëpp mu jox ko a particular institution.
Yes.
Okay. Lulu is not an easy thing. All right. Kooku foog naa ne they have to look out, for each other.
Exactly.
Company bi, kooku tam war naa jàppa liggéey bi. Understand nga pour mu mun a dox, because imagine nga liggéey 20 years 25 years of your life amuloo kër fooy dëkka te yaa ngi amee doom yoo xam ne dañ tuuti ñu ngi mag yow okay maybe in the next 15 years rek
you're gonna die
nga dee
so fi bàyyi xale yooyu
mu ngi mel ni sa doom yooyu noonu they are starting from scratch.
Exactly.
Understand nga ñooñu tam si coono la gaay di dunda.
Waaw.
So loolu kenn moo war a ñëw break that chain.
Exactly. ñu am kër because waaw wax dëgg
so I
yàlla.
think the plight of workers should be considered. Ba pare ñu mun a seet nu ñu improve.
Foog ñu improve rek foog ñu and then ñu prioritize union si ku bokkut union nga dem bokk union. Because it's important union yi dafa am lu bon luñ associate ak ñoom soo waxee union rek nit ñi dañ dee tiit union moom lu bon rek protest déedéet dafa mel ni drivers yi nuñ amee union rek seen union bi ñu faytal seen nit ñi they mean no harm dafa mel ni noonu la rek.
te Gambia fi mun naa la union bu fi gën a dëgër mooy drivers union bi.
dañ dëgër dañ samp
ñoom ñoo gën a dëgër all
parce que xam nga lu tax dañ déggu si lu ñoo def.
tey suñ toogee mun nañoo ne tey moto du daw.
kenn
du daw.
exactly.
waaw so
te they're not doing it because dañ bon dafa am fuñ ko wéer.
waaw
suñ ko réglé. ñëppay jóg def luñ war a def at the end of the day. So gis nañ fi loolu and then we need to come together.
Absolutely.
But Ibrahima, this marks the end of the week for this morning. Till we come their way on Monday on another interesting program. Thank you so much for joining us every single time. And we also have a pleasure of accompanying you on your mornings. Ibrahima Balde and Jenna Wasonko. Interesting duo.
Absolutely.
All right. See you next week. Bye.